Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 29 of Stronghold SHX, the road to $3.33 with myself, CryptoBanker SHX. I hope you're well. It is August the 15th. I'm sure you are well. Before we dive into today's episode, just a prerequisite, an important one as always. I am not a financial advisor, and nothing I ever say or do should be taken as financial advice. Now, kicking off today's episode, as we always do, we're looking at SHX on their daily, and what do we see here? We see that SHX is trading above 3 cents. It's actually had an increase of just below 11% at 10.88% on the increase on the daily of price and market cap, and then in regards to volume, we've seen a slight decrease of 11.13%, currently stood at $3.98 million worth of SHX has exchanged hands over the last 24 hours. Now, what I wanted to do today on today's episode is complete the original top 10 reasons as to why Stronghold SHX will become a top 20 crypto. This is from a series of posts from myself back in August 2023. So we did 1 to 5 yesterday. If you haven't seen that, please do go back and watch it or don't. It's up to you. But we're going to do reasons 6 to 10 today. So Stronghold SHX, the reason 6 as to why SHX will become a top 20 crypto is Stronghold's ecosystem. So they have key strategic partnerships with IBM, Xpring, and Stellar. They are strategic advisors and partnerships. They also have a select strategic investors, Ripple and MVB. So really what that's demonstrating to you is fairly obvious. Stellar and Ripple combined equals Stronghold. Now, with Ripple and XRP, originally they went after all the money and then decided that banks were enough to be concentrating on, and then they began Stellar for retail payments and separated it out. When they did retail payments, they also realized that, well, hang on a minute, there's this huge US market, and who is going to be the gateway for US adoption when it comes to blockchain and crypto? And so they created Stronghold and SHX and Stronghold Net. So this slide is obviously back from 2023. Things have changed slightly in regards to numbers, but something that they've always lowballed is this merchant pipeline, because we've got 8,127 merchants in the pipeline. But then if you watch, say for example, the Visa Everywhere Award that Tammy won, they are quoted, and you can see in the graph that they have over 2 million merchants already at that point, and their pipeline is in the millions. So as I say, they've always been overcautious as to not overshare, give minimal amounts of information, because never to become a focus of the SEC. Obviously, with the Ripple connection, they never wanted to be dragged into that case, that staged case with the SEC. And so very much playing it down, as we've always seen, which just always made me even more bullish, because they do drop hints, but you have to be aware, right? Things like when they sponsored the Natura event, which is the biggest Natura event of the year, and the password was Stronghold ACH for the Wi-Fi. Like, hello. Anyway, reason 7 is Stronghold Net Governance voting. Now, as I say, the first governance vote was back in Q4 2023, and it was around burning a proportion of that fee. It was actually decided that they would go ahead with that the community voted for this. I think it was 70% of that fee, it was 70%, to be burnt in SHX. So it made SHX deflationary, which is a really important point. So that 100 billion max supply will always be decreasing, which is incredibly bullish. And I remember when I first started as well, and you make posts and you get a lot of FUD from people, and someone said, "Oh, they'll never let the holders of SHX decide the network." Well, yeah, here we are, and they are doing. Here, reason 8 is Stronghold Net is groundbreaking in features. It takes it beyond a digital payments platform, and it's powered by the currency of SHX. Now, I'm not going to play this video because I'll be able to explain it better, I think, because I can say more probably. So, Stronghold Net is plugged in to the Stellar Network XRPL. It also is plugged in to federal payments in regards to FedNow, FedWire, as well as the US ACH network and ISO 20022. Now, these are the factors which we were aware of. Obviously, I came out and said that SHX would be included in X Money. People laughed. Also, like, no one had said that before or seen it before. And it's now becoming very apparent that Stronghold Net is going to have all of the financial instruments and liquidity that a network which then provides traditional financial instruments and new ones as well. For example, stocks, property, you're looking at real world assets on chain. When you're thinking about the amount of value that's going to be locked up within Stronghold Net, and obviously it's called Stronghold for a reason, right? Taking into account the volume that comes through this interoperability through other networks and L1s, and obviously established, and I think Stronghold Net and SHX is really leading and been chosen to lead the digitization and the revolution of the ACH network, which processes over $80 trillion a year just in the US, but it is global, by the way. The ISO 20022, so obviously it has rails to banks back and forth, and it's designed to be the bridge from traditional to new. But then, like I say, you have the idea of stocks and property and tokenization, bonds potentially. People ask me what the volume will be going through on SHX. Well, there's many different factors to that, because obviously it's not all going to run through SHX. SHX is the native currency of the network. But given the use cases that SHX has in regards to being the liquidity tool and the utility currency, and you have rewards and DeFi and everything like that, and voting and governance, as well as other use cases, you've got to think that if, for example, someone asked me, what if $1 trillion worth of ACH network payments go through SHX? Now, it will go through Stronghold Net, if it does, which it will. But not financial advice, obviously. But when you're thinking about $1 trillion, it depends in the terms of time, because it could be over 12 months, right? So it could be around 88 billion a month, or it could be all at once. Now, when you understand exactly what something needs to be priced at to function as a liquidity tool while avoiding large price jumps, so real volatility, then you realize that it needs to be 10 to 100 times the actual value of the transaction that you're trying to make. Now, I'm not saying that $1 trillion of NACHA or US ACH payments then filters through to SHX being a $10 trillion market cap. But if you think about the volume and what it has to touch in regards to SHX, everything will be going through, whether it's fees in SHX, whether you're actually using SHX as a liquidity tool to route a payment. But you'll see this on Stellar on say, for example, Lobster. You swap an asset. Sometimes it goes to Aqua, then it'll go somewhere else, and it'll go somewhere else, and then it gets to the best price point. It uses the liquidity the most efficient way and reroutes the payment to then get to the final payment. But essentially save you a little bit of money if you were to then versus doing the asset to asset a straight swap. So when Stronghold Net is operational and you have all of the total value locked within the network, but then you have SHX as the center and the native currency of that network, really interacting with all the elements of payments and movement of money, given that obviously its use cases, but most importantly, the fact that it's a liquidity tool, then it has to be of a certain price to be able to function seamlessly and also avoid those large volatility moves in terms of price. So I believe that Stronghold, and I've always said this, that's why it's called Stronghold, when they do DeFi, they're going to heavily incentivize people to lock up their SHX for rewards and DeFi, right? And staking. And what that will do is it'll be able to provide that liquidity because it'll be locked in to the system. But in regards to volume going through SHX, it's going to be in the billions, tens of billions on a daily basis. Yeah. Reason 9. Stronghold Net and SHX are climate friendly and environmentally sustainable. So it's built on a climate friendly ledger. Obviously, we know that Stellar leads the way in regards to being climate friendly and the way in which it works. So the technology behind it is future proof. Obviously, you have a whole global agenda of climate change, and you don't want to be involved in that. People don't talk about that anymore with Bitcoin, do they? Interesting. But here, if you ever wanted to sign, there you go. 3,333 views. Now, reason 10, interoperability and compliance. It's what I've been banging on for years for, because no one beats them. No one beats them. No one has Natcha and SOC 2 Type 2 and IBM's equivalent of regulatory and compliance standards. Like, they don't have it. So what do you think is going to happen? Well, out of all of the compliant crypto that you're seeing at the moment, and it's US made, SHX and Stronghold Net are going to lead the way in regards to blockchain crypto adoption, not only in the US, but globally. That's why they've opened up that's why they've started a new page in Japan, right? But that's not going to be the last of it. There isn't a time like this. And you see the price going up. But there isn't a time like this. This has only just begun. It is the most compliant crypto project in the world, in my own personal opinion. Again, not financial advice. But you have to understand the work that they've done for the last 8 years. It's incomparable to anyone else. The size is immense. It's immense. And so, like I always say, time's running out. And when people realize what this is, and when people understand even 10% of what I do and have been saying over the last over 2 years now, then they're going to FOMO in harder than they've ever FOMO'd before. I was saying back here, it's going to be a top 20 crypto. SHX is going to be the top 10. What does that mean? Well, in a post-regulation compliant world, it means that it's going to be multi-billions of dollars in market cap, if not hundreds of billions of dollars in market cap, if not in 10 years, trillions. All of the money, all of the adoption, specifically in the US, equals wow, right? That's it for episode 29. I'll be back tomorrow for episode 30. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you are enjoying this series. We're going to share this journey together of SHX hitting $3.33, and then I will disappear. But until then, I'll be here every day, Monday to Saturday, providing these episodes and sharing this journey with you. But as I say, without you guys watching and without you guys listening, there would be no point, right? There would be no show. So thank you so much. Thank you for all your amazing comments. Thank you for all the likes. Thank you for all the shares. Tell everyone, like, tell your family, tell your friends, tell everyone you know, because again, time's running out, and what is about to happen is going to blow your mind.